Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Get Your Paint On this Thursday, the 23rd. I'm joined by our good friends, Tony Konachek and Will Hungerford today.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. In true Hungerford fashion. A couple of announcements. First things first, this is a loaded stream, guys.
Totally
we have
fully loaded.
way too much stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a hard time getting through it, but we're going to make do. So let's get the ball rolling, shall we?
Yeah, because we have a handful of things that people have never seen before that you're going to be kind of showing off throughout the show, including some major surprises.
I'm counting.
You're counting in your head.
There's like 5 things that we're going to talk about
Wait,
that people don't know about.
Are you including some of the group things as separate things, or 5 ideas, and then the individual parts are more than that?
I mean, if we're talking about individual things, 11.
11.
There's 11 individual
11
things.
new things you've never
But
seen
those things
before.
are kind of grouped a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Including the one that is on camera.
Yeah, right now,
now.
which is Valin Hauke?
Valin
Fallen
Hauke.
Hawk.
Yeah.
The Fallen Knight.
The Fallen Knight. This is a dope model. But we're going to get to this guy in just a little bit. We got a couple announcements, aside from the one we just had. Stream schedule. Dun, dun, dun. No real deviations from this. We've got Dev Hangout Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Get your paint on here. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Staff Showdowns monthly. I don't think we've got one planned quite yet for next month.
the next staff showdown will be post lock and load. So it will be late in
that makes
June.
sense.
Maybe Riot Quest.
Maybe Riot Quest. And then we got Primecast Live tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning. Yep.
Tomorrow morning. So get super hyped for that. We got Mini Crate. A little bit of a change.
One thing before we talk about Mini Crate, I want to remind everybody, well, I shouldn't say remind you, announce to you that next week is the last week of live streaming that we will do until Lock and Load is over.
Yes.
So we will be doing a ton of streaming at Lock and Load, but next week, May 30th, will be the last live stream before Lock and Load.
Got one more show.
Yeah, we all got to get prepped and get ready for that.
Yep. So get your paint on. Will be the second to last one. We might not. Yeah. Won't be until after the Lock and Load. But now we can go to Mini Crate. New Mini Crate going up. We've got our Grey Lord Taskmaster, a little puppy there, which you can get by subscribing by June 19th.
He's so cute. Do we know if the puppy is a separate piece?
I have no idea, but it looks like a separate piece.
Okay.
So it's entirely possible it is separate. And then Bride of Arcadius, still the free VIP subscription model. Should be for the next couple of months yet. We've got the same Mini Crate models as well. Subscribe by June 5th to get... the name is not on here. You're killing me.
Chagatai.
Chagatai, the Unicorn Clan.
Yep.
And
Moto
then-
Chagatai.
Moto Chagatai. And then we've got Shosuro Sadako, who's the VIP subscription model. So next we can move on to our Hobby and Terrain blog, which is the Privateer Press run and uploaded by Danny as he updates all the tables the table that we're getting ready rather for Lock and Load, getting all the little pieces there. It's really cool to get all kind of a snap behind the curtain and all this stuff getting made. And come check it out at Lock and Load because it's all going to be there. Speaking of Lock and Load, tickets are on sale now. We got spaces, I think you mentioned, available.
Yes, we finally did our job and confirmed that there are hotel rooms available still in our block.
This is June 21st through the 23rd of this year. Just a little under or about exactly a month.
Yeah, no, it feels like tomorrow.
It does feel like tomorrow. All right, cool. That's it for our main stuff. We can kind of go into the show proper. So got this guy here. I put a little bit of work into him beforehand. The main thing I wanted to work on here today was the red armor.
Is this the studio model or yours?
This is mine.
Okay.
Yeah. This is not the studio scheme.
Okay.
However, speaking on studio schemes, I did mention a couple of shows ago that we were going to show off some studio models.
Yeah.
So let's start off the stream with showing off something that you've seen before, but have not seen the studio model for. So we've got the Desolator.
Nice.
So this is the spray heavy war beast, not the melee one. But this is the studio paint scheme for this guy.
And you painted up this version 3 weeks ago, I believe.
Oh,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
3 weeks
It's
ago.
pretty recently.
Yeah.
He's pretty recently finished. But yeah, this model is huge. I painted this on stream. It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
So you got to see my kind of take on it. But this is the official War Beast studio scheme.
And Hungerford, have you seen any of these Infernal models finished from the studio?
They don't let me out of the office anymore.
Yeah.
So
for good reason.
For anyone listening, my chair, I'm shackled to it, and I was wheeled into this office to be put next to a mic to talk. Help.
Help. Please help.
It's ridiculous. Why would we do that?
No, I have not seen. I have not seen anything. And if I had to describe this painted model and your paint job in 2 words or less, it would be sick nasty.
Okay, I was gonna say white, but you know.
No, I think it looks, and I don't know if that's hyphenated or not. I think it looks amazing. But I think amazing is a very trite word to use in such a situation. I don't want to sit here and just be like, oh, it's amazing, it's dope, it's hype, nothing like that. No, I think the appropriate term is sick nasty.
Sick nasty.
Yeah, it's sick nasty.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the rest of the stuff. These models are pretty fantastic. So we'll get back on to Valin Hauke here, the Fallen Knight.
So that was one of the 11 new things we're talking about.
Correct.
Today.
That was the first of 11. So we're going to get started here. Painting this red armor. So one of the things that I want to do is I kind of want to go for a metallic-y sheen, like highly reflective armor.
Sure.
So I'm going to go kind of over a little bit of where I'm going to be placing my highlights. One of the first things that I like to do when I do this sort of this like really, really reflective type armor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of, do I have red ink over here somewhere? Better. I don't. Okay. We're going to take a red base. And we're going to mix it into a little bit of Rin Flesh. One of the colors that I really like to use to highlight red are skin tones, because it's more of an off-white that's still a little bit on the warmer side. So it blends together a lot better with the red and has this like really natural highlight to it.
So is that I mean, a lot of people and myself will also use like Menoth White highlight because it's got a little bit of color to it. So is using the flesh tone make it even less, I don't know if chalky is the right word.
Stark.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps it desaturated a little bit, but it is a more... So I've always noticed that when I highlight or when I mix like whites or when I don't want to make a orange armor, so you know, like if you add orange to armor, it makes it like look really, really, really saturated, really red. If you want to keep like a more like traditionally red armor, I tend to use just skin tones or like Menoth White highlight. But Menoth White highlight is really bright. Skin tones tend to be a little bit darker, so it's a better first highlight than using Menoth White highlight.
Okay.
So
yeah, the way I normally do my reds is with oranges.
With oranges,
yeah, for my highlights. That is my preferred way of do it. I usually do a base red, then a lighter red highlight, then a nice like wash, then usually like a dark red ink glaze, and then hit it with some orange afterwards. Yeah. It's my basic booty style of doing it.
Basic booty.
Basic. Well, I can't say what I wanted to say, so I'm just saying I'm just saying I'm basic.
So you're going to notice that I'm not necessarily highlighting in the traditional fashion where you would go just along like the edge of the plates. Because I'm doing this more curved like highly reflective metallic, basically, you're going to notice that, I don't know if you guys have ever looked at like a metal pipe before.
Never.
But, or studied it.
I've never looked at a metal pipe.
Let me see if I can get this on. There we go. Kind of. Yeah. So you can see on the ferrule these specular highlights where you have really, really, really bright light against a really dark shadow. And this contrast creates this like very noticeable metallic effect. You can see it a little bit there where it's like just at the top, but you can still see a little bit of dark there. So I'm basically going to be doing a lot of that, is going from very, very bright highlights to really, really dark shadows in a very short window or short gradient.
Because normally over a flat surface, if it wasn't going to be shiny,
right,
generally
it would be a larger gradient, and there would be less points of highlight. With curved metallic shapes, you'll have more points of specular highlight from different sources of light hitting it.
Sure. We have a question from Twitch chat for you from Aeronator Gaming. Mm-hmm. It says, just got into Monster Apocalypse, and I got all of the first 6 factions. Cheers. Thank you. And I would like to get good brushes, so I've come to you guys for guidance. What paint brushes do you use?
Depends. Do we still have brushes available?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, fine tip watercolor brushes.
Yeah, typically watercolor brushes, I don't tend to use like really small brushes. Like this is a size 1. And like this is a size 2. And these are traditional watercolor brushes. So I don't use the miniature size brushes, which you can find. They're quite a bit smaller. They're closer to about that height. So you don't get it quite as much brush tip. You get a finer point with with less bristles.
Yeah, my personal experience with those brushes is that some of them can be nice. I'll usually use a number 1 or number 2 for most of the work, and number 1 does the heavy lifting. And then I might get a smaller 0, and the miniature versions of those work okay. Like they're fine. And if you like them, great. I've found they don't quite hold as much paint. So while some of the smaller versions might be nice for some super, super detail work, I've actually found them harder to work with than the regular size brushes just because they just don't quite, they dry out much faster on the tip while you're painting.
What's funny is I don't know the numbers at all because all the brushes I use are the named ones. Like they have like hobby studio brush, like we've got our fine studio brush and all those different ones. And so I just kind of know like this is my dry brush, this is my base brush, this is my regular highlights, this is my fine highlights. So when people are like number 1, number 2, number 0, I'm like I don't know.
It's whatever works for what you're doing. Some people like a larger brush. And we'll do all their work with that. I've met a painter before who did most of his work with a number 2, just because he could get the fine tip on it. But yeah, those are some of the common sizes, but whatever works.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's really what you have the most comfort painting with.
And Aeronator Games would like to see some Empire of the Apes models.
Jordan did a painting on a Get Your Paint On with them a few weeks back, which should be on YouTube. So, Aeronator, if you go to youtube.com/PrivateerPressPrime, you can check out all the old streams. They all get uploaded, and they're all labeled. So go check it out. You should be able to find some Empire of the Ape videos there.
You should also stay tuned for the entire episode.
Stay tuned for the entire episode.
Matthew Terry on Facebook. Yes, Jordan is painting Valin Hauke at the moment, though everyone watching, if you've just joined us, we are showing off a lot today. So we showed off the studio painted Infernal Desolator, but that was like just an appetizer compared to some stuff that y'all have never, ever even conceived of. That no one knows about. No one's hinted about. You were getting your first look on this stream at something that is going to blow your damn mind. An Aeronator for you as a Monster Apocalypse fan, you definitely want to keep an eye out.
Yeah. Cards and special rules. Don't get greedy. We got to save something for dev hangouts and for Oz and Hungerford to talk about.
Yeah, I can't steal all of their thunder. I can steal a little bit of their thunder, but not all of it.
We have a slight drizzle. We don't really have thunder.
Yeah, it's we're in Seattle. It doesn't really thunderstorm here very much.
Yeah.
So
Although I wish it would more. I love thunderstorms.
So when you're painting on these highlights in that pattern, what is your thinking for deciding to do that? Because you showed us the brush, which kind of gives like a straight line highlight.
Yep. So I'm trying to think of the shape of the armor plate and how light would interact with it if it were a polished metallic surface. And these aren't necessarily 100% correct. I'll probably fix it a little bit as things go along. And I kind of see and kind of play around with what I like or what I see that I don't like more. But yeah, it's just one of those things you kind of have to play around with and use real world observation to kind of get a grasp on where the highlights should be.
Is there a name for this specific technique that you're doing? I mean, it's highlighting, but is this like
you're painting non-metallic metal.
Okay.
Is what
so
you're doing.
this is red non-metallic metal?
Yeah.
Sounds really hard. But you clearly are making it look easy. Maybe it is easy. Tony, could you do this?
I mean, I can do anything if
I can do anything.
if I have the
I love
the ability to learn it. Yeah,
I can do anything.
it's right in front of me
Good
right
answer,
now.
Tony.
You can do anything if you have the ability to learn it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to unpack that sentence.
Faith in
Look,
Tony's ability to do things.
if you're asking me if I can do it right now,
No.
the answer
But
is
the statement,
is
I can
no.
do anything.
But yeah, I
answer
can
is
do
no.
anything. Like
Well-
as long as you have the ability to figure it out, learn from any mistakes, and go through the process where you gain that knowledge.
But you also have to be capable of doing it.
I think anybody is capable of doing it.
Well,
It's just,
No, but I'm
you
talking
gotta
about
learn it.
painting anymore. Like,
I mean, if
I'm like Tony, I want
Yeah.
you to punch the sun.
yeah,
Like, you could learn
yeah,
all about it, but you can't punch the sun.
we don't know that yet.
No, we do.
No, we don't because I am still alive
Yeah.
and I have the rest of my life to try and
Punch the
make
sun?
that happen.
Don't do that.
It hasn't happened yet, and
Yeah.
therefore it is impossible because it hasn't happened yet. But that does not mean that it can't happen at a point in the future.
This feels like one of our car ride conversations, and we're not going to get into that.
I love being in the car with you, by the way.
All right. What did you just put on there?
So you'll notice that I kind of erased most of what I was doing on this hind quarter of this horse armor here. I wasn't really happy with the placement, so I'm doing more gradiated highlights.
Okay.
So I can kind of imagine it as a highlight and then just strengthen it as I go higher
Sweet.
in value.
A couple questions from the people on the social medias. Adam Thomas Morey says, are any of you going to play Infernals? Yeah, the model being painted by Jordan right now is his own model. This is not the studio model, so he's painting that for his own Infernal army.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll have it all done by lock and load because I'm super busy, but we can get some stuff done, that's for sure.
Aeronator Gamer says, is Kraken Noctis available? I do believe so. Striker 911 says, the red armor is giving me a Dracula vibe. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, it was somewhat inspired by that.
It's very Bram Stoker.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you've seen that movie, given the amount of movies that you
That's
haven't
true. Good point.
I mean,
have
I
you
don't have
actually
to
have you
have
actually
seen the movie.
seen the movie?
Which one?
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
No, I've not.
seen. Of course. And Quasitor 8086 says, is the base coat that you're highlighting over, is that Khador red base?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
And then this might be, Sabian, we might need a little more information from you to understand your question, but Sabian Asher asks, how do you know what colors to use as a non-metallic highlight?
I mean, you can kind of use whatever you want, right? Like, the really interesting thing is if you're doing like not regular like silver, true like non-metallics, and this is true for even regular metallics when you're painting. Like you can really mix all sorts of colors into your highlights and into your shadows too, because the thing about metals is they reflect the world around them. So they kind of incorporate color from the surfaces around them. So like if this is a blue cloak, then in the shadows in here, there's going to be a deeper blue reflection from the light reflecting off of the cloak into the metal and then reflecting out. So you'll see a lot of that.
Is another way to say that if you hold up your brush again and you're seeing that specular highlight, that highlight is coming off of the studio light that's over your head.
Yes,
if that light
a little yellow.
Were a bright green light, you would see a greenish reflection.
Yes, correct. I wish I had like an actual like metal sphere, because that's the best way to like look at it. Actually, I have these clips here that might be okay. I can show these, right?
Go for it.
Okay. So here's a good example, right?
Production tool right here.
Production tool. You can see the specular highlight here on the top, but you see how it's also reflecting the color from my hand? You can see it kind of move as I move my fingers. That's what I'm talking about, where it reflects elements of color from the surfaces around them. Like if I put a yellow or an orange paint, right, it's going to pick up on that. So getting into painting metals in general, you want to start thinking about incorporating colors from around the surfaces, the atmosphere around what you are painting.
He's so knowledgeable.
I know. That's an excellent tip.
Just Jordan learning time.
It's what Get Your Paint On's for, man. Talking about cool painting stuff.
For all you got, a metal sphere is also the best way to look like a wizard. You're not incorrect. I agree.
I feel like a better way to look like a wizard is definitely to have a glowing magical sphere, though. Right? Am I wrong? Am I not wrong?
I'm giving you the hard stare of the don't contradict me.
Oh, I'm contradicting the heck out of you, Tony. This is happening. This is happening.
Tony, do you think...
Don't embarrass me in front of our friends.
Do you think if you had enough time to learn that you could become a real wizard and use real magic and throw fireballs?
I mean, there's no guarantee.
Sure.
But all I'm saying is that the possibility
It's not real.
is available.
It's not.
Because I'm still alive.
Magic's
like
not
once
real.
I'm dead, we're done. And even then, I don't know. Maybe
Magic's not real.
Maybe undeath could be a thing.
No, voodoo's real.
Necromancy. I'm writing down to study.
Magic's not real.
Start that. Necromantic study.
If you're gonna study anything, if you're like, I'm gonna become a wizard, you don't jump into necromancy.
Well, look, we're trying to extend the timeline.
Don't you define
here.
his path?
I will necro-shame you.
I will
like you do. You don't just be like, well, I'm gonna learn magic. Let's start with the dead folk.
Start with the dead. Hey, man, you know what? Maybe that's just his interest in life. You know,
that's okay. People can have bad interests. Like your interest can make you inherently a bad person.
Necromancy doesn't make you inherently a bad person.
It does.
Does it though?
Yes, you are literally raising the dead. They have other things to do.
Maybe not.
How do you know they don't like it?
Have you ever heard a zombie or like moan happily?
I mean, have you?
Well, but other creatures make odd sounds that mean like, hey, everything's pleasant. It's fine.
And wizards don't go dig them up and run around town trying to take control of things with them. Just like start with like, I don't know, some simple transmutation.
Or fire magic.
Or you could just get to it.
How was that getting to it? Okay, if there are, we know what we're going off the deep end here.
Big old tangents.
Hey Jordan.
Yeah.
We're almost halfway through with the stream.
Oh no, we're not.
Do you have another thing you want to show off?
Yes. Let's start with.
We've only shown one of the 11 so far.
All right, so y'all were talking about how you like Mompoc, right? Remember how like your monster goes hyperform when it gets beat up a lot?
Totally.
And like some people, a lot of people might like to represent that with an actual model. So let me show you some clear cast resin Mompoc monsters that we're going to be making. It's kind of hard to see because it's clear, but throw a little bit of like some ink glazes on this. You make a nice little hyperform model.
And this is the throwback to the original Monster Apocalypse, where you had your alpha form and then you had your hyper form, and they were two separate models. And because in the original Monster Apocalypse, you could swap back and forth mid-game between them, versus second edition, where your hyper form is basically your more damaged, more powerful form.
And here we have the Armadax.
So this is number 3, if you guys are keeping count.
Yeah. Now, how would you said glazes and stuff, but how would you, would you paint this, or would you leave it like that, you personally?
I would paint it.
Okay, and then how would you go about painting this thing?
So what I would do, it's pretty straightforward. I would establish what color I want it to be. So let's say I want this guy to be blue, right?
Yep.
I would take some blue paints, and I would water them down into like a wash or a glaze, and then I would do that over the surface of the model.
And just that?
Just that.
And that will maintain the translucency of the miniature, so that like
if you do it in thin glazes or you use inks,
Yeah.
inks is the best way to do it because they're already super translucent.
Yeah. Because if it's too thick, you're basically just painting over the model and you can't see the clear resin.
The other thing I would do potentially as well is I would like paint everything except for maybe like the tail or the ridges, and keep like the ridges clear, and then do some like cool ink glaze with that.
Okay.
It also, if anybody likes to put LEDs in their models, this leaves some room for you guys to mess around with that. So that's kind of exciting.
How can people get their hands on this? Do we know yet? Has it been announced?
Yes. So we will have some of these available at Lock and Load this year.
Oh, sweet.
So like real soon, guys. These may not be the exact ones that you see, but we will, as far as I've been told, be having these available at Lock and Load.
Yeah, they're currently planned for 1 per faction.
Correct.
And I guess we'll have more information on when they'll be available for general sale later. But for first shot at Lock and Load.
That's correct.
That's pretty cool. Nobody would have seen that one coming.
I think they're gonna like. There's just some interesting painting opportunities to change it up, right? The fact that you can make it all clear, try to make it all glowy, do some different effects on it. I love the idea of just painting it up like a regular model with some translucent under areas, like glowy spines and tail. Sounds really cool.
We have 2 questions from Twitch chat right now for you, Jordan, regarding those new models.
Yeah.
Frothy Cat says, would you prime it with a matte varnish?
Yeah, you could definitely do that as well if you want to actually put more gradient and you want to paint it.
Yeah.
Putting a layer of matte varnish on it first is not a terrible idea. I honestly, you guys, I haven't really done a lot of messing around with the models to really tell you. And I've never really worked with clear resin before.
Okay, which leads to our second question, because No Howard on Twitch was saying, can you show us what a glaze would look like on these models? But it sounds like maybe not this stream, but maybe a future one.
I mean, I could.
I mean, if you want to, it's up to you. Yeah, I know you're doing your Valin Hauke right now.
Yeah, let's keep working on this guy.
But maybe we can save that for another show.
Yeah, we can save that for another show. I am planning on doing an actual show on these clear cast resin models.
Oh, okay.
So you guys will be able to see that at some point in the future. It's just not, I don't have the setup for it right now, because I was planning on painting this guy basically. So
you're gonna know Howard, where we will get you in the future.
Yes, it is something that Tony and I have already had a discussion about.
God, Tony is such a forward-thinking guy, which makes me really surprised that he's into necromancy.
No, that's why.
Hey, that is some forward-thinking stuff.
Beyond death.
No, dog, time travel.
I'm so far ahead.
You would be a chronomancer if you were like really thinking far ahead.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
With chronomancy, because then you can start anytime. You've already started.
You don't know chronomancy. I don't know that that's how it works.
It is. It's time magic.
So I like where this is going on this hind quarter here. And now I'm going to put in a little bit of a shade. Now, unfortunately, Tony does not have a splat for this one because this is a new paint.
Next new thing.
So one of the things that we're going to be doing here, and you may notice with some of these Infernal models, are some paints, I say paints, plural, that you guys have not seen before. One of which is a paint called Amethyst Rose, which is a really, really, really cool, like red-purple almost put a little bit of this on my hand so you guys can see it. Or actually, I'll put it on a piece of paper. Probably be better. Getting there.
Now you mentioned paints while you're in the setup here.
So that is Amethyst Rose, guys.
Do you have a bottle of it?
Yes, I do.
And can you show maybe a pot of Scorn Red or something just to give a?
So this is the pot. Sorry, this is not the official deal, but this is what the paint is. So this is Scorn Red, and this is Amethyst Rose. Do I have?
How does that compare to the Sanguine?
Sanguine. It's actually a bit brighter, and it's a little bit more saturated than Sanguine Base.
Oh, awesome.
Like Sanguine Base and Sanguine Highlight tend to be pretty desaturated. So this is Sanguine Highlight.
Right.
I don't have a Sanguine. Nope, that's Murderous Magenta. That's Murderous Magenta.
So you just
I like what's happening here.
So
we're getting there.
That's really just filling in.
Look at these wax seals.
A missing area.
Look at these wax seals.
So, yeah. So that's what I'm going to be using as the shade here.
Now,
and this is used in the Infernal Red Glow as kind of a deeper shade for like the darker areas of the glow.
And that paint you showed us, that was spoiler number 4.
Yes.
Spoiler 4 of 11 today. But you did mention multiple new paints. So
yes.
I assume some of the other spoilers we might have today, because I honestly don't even know, might be some of the other new paints. Maybe. We'll find out. I don't know.
Yeah, I did say there were 11 things that we were going to talk about. So
Becky Red on Facebook says, that's a sweet color red. It's lush.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's kind of amazing. This is one of my favorite new colors.
That's a good word, Becky. Thank you.
I am super duper excited to be using it a lot more.
So
as you guys can see, I'm kind of just putting it in the shadow areas to create more contrast between the darker and the lighter areas. I'm kind of put in a mix of Kato Red base and this around it.
And again, you're not leaving a ton of room for blending and shading. You're just kind of running the shade almost right up to the highlight.
Fairly watered down paint here.
While you're doing that, we have a question from Strigiform on Twitch. Say, I got inspired to do some paint, or I got inspired to do paint. Okay. I got inspired to paint some of my Hearts of Darkness traders in the Infernal Studio color palette. In this case, would you paint the Warjack's armor black/metallic or white to emulate the horrors?
Black.
Okay.
Because I guess we can show maybe another couple things.
Let's show another couple things while you're talking about this. So, your answer to his question is paint the armor black.
Yes.
Okay.
The reason why is because typically your armor on Infernals is black.
Ooh.
So you guys may recognize this model. This is Zadaroth.
This is the studio model?
This is the studio model.
You painted this?
I did paint this.
You're stupid. Why is that so good? I mean, stupid in a good way.
Look,
I don't even understand the words. I don't understand what you do.
Turn it back around so they can see the book pages.
You're a wizard. You know paintomancy.
That is awesome.
Infernal runes.
Look at those
in there.
runes.
God.
And then I don't know if you guys can see this super well on camera, but we got the glow, the red glow in there.
It's just ridiculous.
I love that smoke.
From the smoke. And to paint this black, which is pretty green, it doesn't show up super well on camera from what I can see, but it is very, very green. There are a couple of colors that you're going to want to use here. The first one is a new gray called Asheth Gray. No splat for this one, unfortunately.
I'll still make the sound when you bring up the bottle.
Yep. Well, it'll be the bottle and then actual paint on.
So this is the next of the mini spoilers today.
So 5.
This
is 5 and
coat.
then 6.
So that's the gray. That's the pot.
How does that differ from, say, like coal black or?
So this has no blue in it.
Okay.
This is actually a little bit of a flat, warmer gray or gray. Mm-hmm. It's also dark. Like this is a pretty dark color. Let me get some Great Coat Gray and some Coal Black to kind of compare.
I like that when I compliment people when I'm surprised by their skill, I call them dumb.
Yeah,
I'm like, Jordan, you're dumb. That's too good.
that's very you. And then inside, we're like,
It is very you.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
that means a lot.
Yeah. He's a nice guy. He just likes insulting people a lot.
No, I don't mean to insult people. It's just say things wrong.
I just say things wrong. Why do I not have Great Coat Gray over here?
Becky Red says that is super lush.
So this is Coal Black next to Asheth Gray. So you can, there we go. So you can see that, like, this is very, very blue. This is very, very not. So this is definitely a lot more of like a black gray than the Coal Black is. Used in different, kind of in a similar place, but it's a totally different color for doing that. So that's the base coat color for all of the whatchamacallit.
The Infernal's
the cloth
robes.
and the armor and stuff like that is all that color. The next color, and this is how we get a little bit of that green. And if you guys play Retribution at all, you'll probably be a little bit happy about this.
This is a new color?
This is a new color.
Okay.
It is a color that has existed in the range for a while, but was previously a mix of two other colors.
Okay.
But in an effort to avoid having you guys do a lot of mixing, we're making Mage Hunter Green. So this is the Mage Hunter Green. So this is going to be like that. That's next to Asheth Gray, by the way. This is the green that you see on all of the kind of like not camo, but the
drab.
Thank you so much. I'm having a hard time today. It's that like green drab that you see on all of the Retribution models. So that is the highlight color for the black that you see on the Infernal models.
Can you hold the bottle up?
I can hold the bottle up. This is a little old. Bottle's been around for a while.
Cool. Question popped up. Somebody's asking, are these new paints going to be available at Lock and Load? I actually don't know.
So I cannot confirm or deny whether or not they will be there or not. These are definitely coming soon. They may or they may not be at Lock and Load. Okay. So,
like fingers crossed kind of thing?
Yeah. If they can be there, they probably will be there. It's just a question of how things kind of fall down the pipeline, right? Might as well finish off these other couple that I have here as well. I have 3 more paints to talk about, guys.
So is 6 paints in total?
6 paints in total.
That's weird. Like usually when we have 6 new paints, they always come as part of like a set, like a faction color set.
So this is not, as far as I know, going to be part of a color set. So these are all going to be purchasable individually.
Individually? Cool.
Yep. The next one, which is part of the skin tone recipe. This is in the deep shades for the skin tone, is a paint called Bad Bruise.
I love that name.
It is a really cool name, not gonna lie. So this is the pot. So it's a purplish blue color. Mm-hmm. And this is what it looks like out of the pot.
That is a really, really just nice color.
Yeah.
It's very regal.
It's very different than a lot of the other colors that we have as well. There's not anything quite like it.
You said this is a skin tone color?
This is mixed into the deep shades of the skin tone. It's like the darkest color in the recipe.
But you could use it to paint armor or whatever you want.
Oh yeah,
right?
totally, absolutely, yeah. This is the color that I use for that part of the recipe. So that's number 4, I believe. Got Amethyst Rose, Asheth Gray, Mage Hunter Green. We have.
While you're pulling the next one, 2 quick questions came up. Aeronator Gaming says, are you going to make faction color sets for Monster Apocalypse factions? I don't think there's any plans to do so right now. And what do you use to hold your miniatures while painting? As you can see, Jordan has his models mounted on the top of a spray primer cap. You just use some sticky tack or double-sided tape, and it's a great way to hold on to your miniatures. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jordan.
Oh, no, you're good.
Just wanted to hit those 2 questions real fast.
So the next color that we're going to show is this guy right here. And I don't know if you can tell. This is called Orgoth Bronze. So this is actually a metallic.
Okay.
It's kind of the same consistency as like the semi-metallic paints. So it's if you guys are familiar with the line, brass balls and deathless metal, not deathless metal. God,
Pig iron?
No,
Cold steel?
it's the one in between. Why can I not remember this right now?
Not frostbite.
Not frostbite. Chat, help me. Help me, chat. Don't remember what it is. It's the darker brass balls shade. I'm totally out of my element right now. How do I not remember this? Anyways,
It's not
it's a
deathless
little
metal?
bit. No, it's not. Deathless metal's
bronze?
a really dark one.
Molten bronze?
No, it's the other like kind of greenish one.
Like Rulic gold?
No, it's
Jordan, I'm going to crawl on the floor behind you.
Go.
Blight-
Go. Run.
Blighted gold?
Okay, bottom or row up from the bottom on the far right. Blighted gold. Thank you. Yep. Blighted gold, everybody.
Riker's Iron in chat called it.
Thank you, Rikers Iron. It's somewhere in between, and it's a little bit more opaque than those other colors. So it's definitely a really good base coat color. It is kind of an amazing color. But I mean, you guys can see there. It's kind of hard to see, but yep, it's got that shine. But that's the next one. And you guys are probably going to all love this next one because I absolutely cannot get enough of this paint.
Hot pink.
You wish.
Oh.
This is Muddy Wash.
Oh.
So I'll just do this on the back of my hand.
Nice.
So this is a brown wash. Not like brown ink, which is very red. This is very, very brown.
And then not like some of
dark
the
brown.
not like some of the flesh washes that we have, which are really
Correct.
really pigmented and
Yep.
very warm on the red side.
And we have one more left to show that's new?
This is the last one.
The Muddy Wash? Okay.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, this is really good. This is really, really, really good, guys. This is one of my favorite new paints. Like, Amethyst Rose is probably my favorite new paint, period. But for, like, regular day-to-day use, Muddy Wash is kind of amazing. So
Yeah, brown washes go good with everything. It literally doesn't matter what color you're painting.
this is the pot. Not that you can really see anything, but yeah.
And what was the name of the metallic?
So I'll go from the top. So we've got Amethyst Rose is the red. Bad Bruise is the blue. Asheth Gray is the grayish black color. Mage Hunter Green is the green. Orgoth Bronze is that bronze color.
Orgoth Bronze.
And then we have Muddy Wash. So we have not only one, not three, we have 6 new paints for you guys that are coming very, very, very soon.
That was 6 of the 11 things that you were showing off today.
Correct. So we've gone through, I think that's all of them actually.
Desolator, Zadaroth,
Desolator, Zadaroth, 8 with the paints,
and then the
9, 10,
the two bronze,
and then Holland or Valin Hauke.
Oh, Hauke was a new one.
I mean, technically, yeah.
Got it.
Never seen his model before, so that's all the fancy new stuff we got for you guys.
What was the name of the red?
Amethyst Rose.
Tony, did you just post them in the chat? Mm-hmm. Striker beat you to it.
Oh man, Striker. Look, here's the deal.
So, man.
Mine's official.
Yes.
Oh, dang.
Yes. Wow.
Riker, you gonna let him put
Just-
you in
just-
in that spot?
Dropping rank like that in the chat.
Digital high five, Striker.
Don't digital high five that.
I love high fives.
Do you?
I do. I wanted to get a T-shirt that says "I love high fives." I don't care.
Dude, be careful where you wear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful where you wear that.
just go the wrong place. People start walking up and high-fiving you, but it's really some kind of like
Oh, yeah.
elaborate scheme to like mug you.
I'm gonna mix some of this bad brews in here, guys, so we can see some of this new stuff in action.
I'll tell you where I come from, the Bayou. Don't walk around the Bayou with a shirt that says "I love high fives."
Jeff Hanley. It's like the Mad Max Fury Road of spoilers. No getting off this train. We have more. Is that it? We have more.
No, we don't.
No?
No,
Do we do everything?
more. Unless you have something that I don't know about.
We were gonna show off something else that you had though.
Yes. Yeah, I guess that makes 11 or 12.
It's related to the model we're painting today.
Loosely, yeah.
We also have to go through the P3 Painter's Instagram, right? And
We will
Yes.
do that, yeah.
and see what cool stuff the
So
community is.
let's
I
do
have
that,
a
'cause
nice
that's kind of
I have a nice segue, or at least a segue. So Becky was saying that she enjoyed going to the Welsh Open last weekend, and she came in second in Best Painted Army. Thank you to Jordan and all of the guidance and painting tips.
Oh,
Then
thank you.
Smiley face.
No, that's a
Kiss-
that's
kissy face.
that's a smoochy emoji.
It's a smoochie.
Oh.
It's a smoji.
Well, good job. Way to go. Keep it going. And hopefully you continue to get cool info that helps you be a better painter.
Nice job, Becky.
Nice job.
Congratulations.
Round of applause.
And with that, we will also take a look at some other things that people have painted.
Heck yeah.
P3 Painters.
Is it P3 Painter's time?
It's P3 Painters time.
Painter's time.
So for anybody who hasn't watched before and knows about this, can you give the quick rundown on what hashtag P3 Painters is?
Yeah, so basically, P3 Painters is a place for our community to post pictures of their painted models for everybody to appreciate and look at. And it's myself and Tony, before stream on Thursday, come in and look at the P3 Painters submissions, and we pick out a couple to talk about. Things that are interesting, that are super well done, things like that, just cool conversions, what have you, whatever kind of speaks to us in the morning. So
And this is all done through Instagram, right?
it's Instagram, Facebook,
And Twitter.
Twitter as well.
Okay. And you just,
So we do have multiple outlets for that.
But
if somebody doesn't have a Twitter, for instance.
the idea is just post a photo of what you've done and then use the hashtag P3 Painters, and
Correct.
it will show up, and you two
Yep.
will look at it.
Yep. Sweet.
Absolutely. All right, so here's our first one. This is from
What?
Yeah, this
Beanie
is
and
dope.
Brushes.
See, my favorite part is I've never seen, like, I don't know what you guys have picked, and I haven't seen some of these.
Yeah, this is super cool.
So dope conversion. It's a subtle one. It just removed the guy at the back
And put in
like
this
an
kind of
energy
power
core.
core.
Yeah, this is super cool. The OSL is really nice. I love purple, so I'm totally into this. Purple's my favorite color.
It's so Tron. It's so Tron.
Yeah,
I
this is
love
sweet.
it.
This is sweet. If you have an entire army that's painted like this, I don't know if you're in the chat or not, Beanie, but this is amazing, and I want to see the rest of this army if it exists.
And next, from
Yep.
Sebastian, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to attempt to butcher your last name.
I mean, you maybe butchered the first name.
Max
That's
Milano?
also true.
Max Milano?
Maximiliano. Okay, yeah, Max Milano.
All
Sure.
right, I'm gonna go with that one because I don't even want to try and pronounce that. I have a hard enough time saying Asheth Gray these days. That's true.
So this looks fancy.
Yeah, this is really nice. It's nice to see black painted really nicely.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do this type of like black armor, and it looks really nice.
Is that also
non?
non-metallic gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
We have one thing I wanted to point out about the black armor is how if you're just looking at the armor itself, especially the larger parts of it, there's not very much, if any, real black on it.
Right.
But it reads
Yes.
as
So
black
this kind
armor.
of goes towards the thing that we were talking about earlier, where you don't paint white. You paint it grays and greens and blues and stuff. Same thing with black. Like you don't paint black with black. You paint it with dark blues, dark greens, dark browns, dark what have you, and then you highlight with, your various different colors that kind of get you to look like that.
What if this armor is not black, but it's actually just dirty white?
I think this is black.
But just like, what if it's just grimy white?
I mean, that'd be cool.
It's like one of those pictures when you look at it, it switches to another thing, and you can't see it the other way. Now I just see dirty white. It looks great.
It's too smooth to be dirty white.
You're too smooth.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Well, I said there's some color. He's got like some oxidization on the the bolts and things here.
It's got a little like kind of a real grimy look.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is nice. I like
That's
this a
nice.
lot. It's a different take on some of the Crucible Guard heavies, which I do like a lot. The Crucible Guard heavies are dope.
Nice job, Sebastian.
Nice job.
And
Druid Jeff real fast on Twitch says, your stream gives me the taste to start my own stream painting my circle army.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
So get it.
Get it.
Paint
Awesome.
it.
Paint it.
Get it, and then post it on P3 Painters.
Pwn it on P3 Pwn.
Pones, it's a pone.
Yeah. We are bad at talking today.
Yeah.
all right.
What you got next?
Here's our next one. Eric Swanson.
Main man.
They're so cute.
Eric Swinson.
That's Eric Swinson. Man, I love that
Yeah.
dude.
This guy is fantastic. Not only is he a really good painter, but he's an awesome dude. And this is actually kind of a more interesting paint topic than normal. This is something that he is painting up for the Nova charity event
Sweet.
at Nova Open this year, of which I am also participating.
Nice.
Which I have the model that I'm working on here if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, these are awesome. I love Eric's paint always, and this is like something that he knocked out super fast. Just from me kind of loosely talking to him about it. But yeah, it's really nice blue. That gray white armor is really cool. This is kind of another one of those things. Like this is kind of like a white armor, but it's not painted white, right?
Right.
So
I don't know how I never saw this before. I could use these for gremlins in my D&D game. Like, if you paint the head like armor, like a helmet, they're just these little chibi, gribbly-looking little monsters.
What you can't see on the other side of the internet is the intense stare Hungerford
Dude.
had. He was eyes locked
yeah.
on that
It's
image the
that
whole
proverbial
time.
light bulb that just went
Yeah.
off in Hungerford's face.
Yeah, I was just like, I just started looking at these and I just started thinking, like, I started getting like campaign ideas of like little tribes of humanoid monsters that look like this. Because like we're used to seeing them as aliens from Monpok, but I'm looking at them and I see, what if like they can talk and they can think and they're like, that's just their armor they're wearing. And I'm like, oh God. And yeah, my mind exploded.
That is pretty cool.
Eric Swinson's paint job just set something off in my brain.
Yeah, and I also like how great these look. Like they're just tight, clean,
Yeah.
and super simple.
Yep.
Like there's not a lot of like complex,
super fancy.
technique
Yeah.
stuff, right?
I went the opposite direction with mine. But I'm having fun. I'm breaking free of the mold of what I typically paint.
Why don't you? Thank you, Eric, and thank you all P3 painters. Why don't you
we love you, Eric.
show what you were painting up?
So this is what I'm painting for that event. So you guys might recognize this red a little bit. This is basically what I'm going to be doing with Hauke, or with the Fallen Knight.
Oh, is that the metallic sheen you were talking about, like on the
Yep.
legs and stuff?
Yep.
That looks so good.
So this is definitely still a heavy work in progress. As you can notice, the top half is only kind of painted. This is kind of what that looks like in progress, that highlighting.
Yeah,
and
you
obviously this is a larger surface, so it's a lot easier to do.
you
That
can see some of those shadows
but
laid in on
That
the
left leg, like the left leg in particular, really shows off. Like that front view and the side view right there. Like, oh my geared.
So yeah, this is going to be available with a lot of the other models that are being painted by the crew for the charity raffle at Nova Open this year, which
Sweet.
is at the end of August, I believe.
So that means if you're at Nova Open, that you could potentially
Buy some
own
raffle
that
tickets,
model.
and you could potentially own that model.
All right, we got. Do we have any? Did we miss anything? We had so
I
much
feel
going
like
on today.
Yeah, I feel like we might have.
Let me
missed
look
something.
over our list. Oh, I think we got it all. We got it all in.
It's
Very,
impressive.
very efficient, everyone.
Like we did so much. I feel like we weren't able to make much progress on this model.
Yeah,
I mean, that happens. We talked about hobby and talked about all of these cool models, and
That's true.
you get your paint on is more of just to hang out, and this is like a great thing to listen to while you're doing your own painting, right?
That's right.
Not everyone's a full-on tutorial.
And because we have minutes left in the stream, if you have other questions or comments for Jordan, now is the time.
Guillaume Sartem says, beautiful red paint job, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Having fun with it. It's one of those things I don't get to do super often because we don't typically do that sort of painting here in the studio. So getting a little bit of free time to exercise some different muscles, as it were, is always super fun for me.
Do you think you could lightning round one panel that's already in progress to get that highlight to
we can
a
work on
fuller
this back.
state?
Like this is definitely the most far along
Right.
back here. Let me get into this a little bit.
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
Sabian Asher says, will there be any thoughts on painting guides for factions like in the command books or No Quarter Prime? I guess the question is, in Oblivion, is there a painting guide for Infernals?
Not
Okay.
currently.
That doesn't mean we can't have one in Insider later on or some
Yeah.
other resource online.
It kind of depends on how much free time I have between painting all the stuff that needs to be painted for photography, and so you guys can have cool stuff to look at on the website.
I do love cool stuff.
So
What are you doing for lunch?
what am I doing for lunch?
Yeah.
Nothing currently.
Okay. We should go to lunch.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm down.
Good talk.
I'm always down. I like
True.
eating lunch.
Excuse me. Wait, what happened? Drew-Eyed Jeff, formerly Jeff 198500817, asks, for streaming, is it better for a white or yellow light?
That's a you question.
That is a fantastic question.
Let me see if I can give the best answer. Not the best answer.
The right answer.
This is my opinion. So if you're painting miniatures, you want generally a more natural light color.
You want daylight.
So you want daylight, which is very blue. So if you can get a blue light for painting, that will help the colors of your model to your eyes look the most accurate and will represent the best in different lighting. If you take them to competitions or photography or whatever, that's when it's going to look the best.
There's also a lot of those lanterns and lights that have the daylight setting on them, right?
Some of them, yeah. Most of the usually you have to change the bulbs. If you do have a light where it has a daylight setting, that's good. But true daylight, as I'm going to drop my technical term now or knowledge, is 5,600 degrees Kelvin. So if you get a light bulb that approaches that number, the higher the number, the bluer the light. So your typical house bulb that you would put into a lamp in your house is around 3,200. So if you get higher number, it's more natural sunlight or daylight, the reflected light that's coming down out of the sky. So that's the light color for painting. For streaming, the answer is it doesn't really matter what the light temperature is, as long as you have the ability to adjust your color temperature via your software or whatever you're using to be able to change it. So if you have a very orange light, you can set the color temperature so that orange is kind of canceled out by adding some blue into the overall image. Now that might change some other things that are in the image, so it's better to start with the light that you want. I hope that was a helpful answer. But blue light for painting.
That was a thorough answer. So super
But
helpful.
for streaming, if you can change your color temperature, then use any light you want.
Okay.
Try to keep them all the same, though. If you use a blue light and an orange light at the same time, that can give you some wonky effects unwanted effects. I say that looking at our lights, I literally have one light that is orange and one light that is blued up for a creative purpose. Like it, you want to cancel it out sometimes or bring it down.
So
it's a whole thing. I could do that all day.
Before we start winding down, I guess 2 things. Jordan, can you kind of show us where you are with the miniature, and you got anything you want to say about it?
Yeah. I mean, this is something that is definitely one of those, like, you kind of nurture and slowly build this up over time. It's not something that kind of just takes place.
It's not a quick edge highlight.
It's not a quick edge highlight. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
At least to get it to like this levels of like reflective, right? Getting that smooth gradient takes a lot longer, especially on the smaller surfaces. And this is also kind of a weird shape to work with.
Yeah.
Which makes things take a little bit longer to kind of try and figure out the right way to put the highlights on it. So.
I guess the second question that we should ask for each of you here and everybody in chat before we leave, this is kind of based on what we've been talking about all day. Of the 6 paints, we'll make it 2 parts. Of the 6 paints that you saw, what's your favorite? The 6 new paints. Like, which one are you most excited about? I know you're Amethyst Rose, right, Jordan?
Yep.
What
Yeah,
about you? What about you, Tony?
Let me go up and see what Striker's list says, and then I'll choose.
I'm really super excited about the Muddy Wash.
Yeah. The Muddy Wash, good. I actually like the Asheth Gray for black base.
Okay.
Because I struggle with painting blacks, like a lot of people do, and so I like giving them different tones and having a nice color that provides a good base for painting black, and then mixed in with the not the Mage Hunter green. What was the highlight? Or was it the Mage Hunter green for doing the greens?
Mage Hunter green's the
highlight,
highlight,
for the
yeah.
highlight.
Yeah. Okay, so you like Amethyst Rose. You're all about the Asheth Gray. I love Muddy Washes. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's real good.
Riker's Iron
You'll
agrees
like
with you, Tony, that the gray base for black is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
And then I guess
because Riker's Iron knows what's what.
Yeah, he does. This was a good stream. And the last question, I guess, before we get out of here, it's a really important one, is if you were going to learn a school of magic as a wizard, what is the first school of magic you would jump into? What?
Let's let chat decide.
I was going to ask Jordan.
Oh, you're going to ask Jordan? Never mind. Sorry.
Jordan, what school of magic would you learn?
Illusion.
I like that. That's very artistic of you. Tony, don't say necromancy.
Oh, it's necromancy.
100% necromancy.
Riker's Iron says illusion.
I respect illusion from an artistic sensibility. However, it's utterly useless. It does it won't extend your life and your powers. The longer I live, the more I can learn, the more I know, the more I dominate. And if I can do that to the infinite end of time realize that's a construct anyway, it doesn't even matter. It just you don't get better than that.
Okay, straight up.
Look, that's the thing about chronomancy.
I can reset my problems.
Also useless.
No.
Yeah.
You live forever.
You're studying a fake thing. It's not real.
Time is real. Also, necromancy, you eventually become a lich. People tie you up, put you in a cement block, and throw you in the ocean.
They're also terrified of you.
Not
constantly.
Really. Not in the future.
Nobody wants to meet you.
We have shotguns. Okay, good talk. Jordan, you wanna get us out of here?
Yeah, I'll get you guys out of here. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today and hanging out with us while we talk about all these huge amount of things that I'm going to have to pack up and take back to my desk. But I will see you guys next week for the last show. I may keep on working on this guy, may move something else. We'll figure that out. But I will see you next week, and then hopefully see a lot of you at Lock and Load. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and have a good afternoon.
Thanks
and
for
lunch.
watching.
Gotta get somebody out of lunch.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Necromancy.
You know it.
No.
You darn necromancer.
Yeah.